Hi, I'm Sean,
I'm Rhonda.
and we're excited to be with you today to talk about some things that can help you in your marriage resolving conflict.
So when you're resolving conflict, what's going on in the back of your mind? What are some of your goals? What are some ways that you might be looking at this? We're going to talk about some ideas, some facets to resolving issues, but for you to consider that may be hindering your ability as a couple to work through issues.
You know, you want to set the right tone. Sometimes we can look at this like a dance, and playing the right music gets the right moves going.
And so the thing is, during a discussion like what we're about to do, you don't want to really be evaluating your spouse.
Right.
Leave that between your spouse and the Lord unless you're asked. But it's better to evaluate yourself or to ask your spouse, do you think that this is the way it's going with me in this conflict?
You know, studies show that the risk of divorce is reduced by 50% just based on the way couples deal with conflict, and effectively setting the tone and the way that we go back and forth talking about an issue is going to be very important.
So we found some of this information from a book by Drs. Les and Leslie Parrott, The Good Fight, How Conflict Can Bring You Closer. It's an excellent book. And if you like some of this information, you might want to check it out.
Just that title is How Conflict Can Bring You Closer. Might seem kind of strange, right? Because many times our concept of conflict is it's pushing us apart, but it's only as if we deal with it in a negative way.
And so when we're able to hurdle these areas and find union around what caused the conflict, there's the peace and the closeness on the other side of that.
You know, if our goal is I want to win versus
I want to resolve this.
Right, then we're going to have a difficult time working through things.
If we're one-upping our spouse, I'm going to be the victor here. Well, what does that make our spouse?
Yeah, you want to be the conqueror?
Yeah, I'm going to conquer my spouse.
Yeah.
And my idea is going to be the winning idea, where resolving means we're trying to find union around this.
You know, sometimes the topic can be kind of skewed because we are either dealing with surface issues
or underlying issues.
Right, so we want to dig deep enough when we're talking about something that, you know, is this really a money conflict or is it a power struggle?
Right, and you know, when we can talk through these things, we might understand more about our spouse's history. How did my spouse get here? Why does my spouse hear things that way? And how might I adjust to make things go smoother next time?
Yeah. Another area is your emphasis, and we kind of mentioned the power struggle, but your personalities about things and your power struggles.
Versus ideas and issues. Are we fighting to have power over the other person, or are we resolving an issue or discussing an idea, which means I'm really listening to you. I really care about what you bring to the table. I really care about your perspective, and I want to unite with you.
We want to validate our spouse. Our attitude, we can have either a confrontational or defensive approach.
Or we can be cooperative and receptive.
I mean, you can see that having a defensive approach is somebody that feels attacked. They feel like their spouse is bringing on weapons.
If we're confrontational, it can feel attacking. If we're defensive, we're probably not listening. If we are cooperative and receptive, that has more of a presentation of, I want to work with you.
And we're on the same team.
And I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Our motivation, are we shifting blame?
Or are we taking responsibility?
Yeah. Like if you use the phrase, it's not my fault.
And so if we take responsibility for whatever degree our contribution to this mess in front of us might be, then we're owning the part that we both play into this. It's not just one person that's causing trouble.
Right. Are we coming across in a belittling way?
Or are we showing respect?
Yeah, we want to be able to respect the difference that our spouse brings to the table.
Because if we're coming across in a way that belittles, that puts down the other person or what they bring to the table, then we're not showing respect. We're probably going to push them away.
Yeah.
And if you're pushing somebody away, you're probably not going to be able to talk through this. But if we can talk in a respectful way, in a polite way, like we would to other people, we're more likely to be heard and we're more likely to hear.
Are we coming across in an egocentric way, which is more self-focused?
Are we empathetic? Are we really trying to connect with the other person?
I want to walk in your shoes, feel what you feel.
Right?
Is our demeanor one of being self-righteous?
Or understanding. Am I really lifting up myself? I know what right and wrong is. The way I think is the only right way. The way you think isn't right because it doesn't match what I feel
Ooh.
is good. But am I understanding? Do I take the time to really get what you have to say? Do I look at what he and she brings to the table as equally valid and equally important as coming into this picture?
Because we are sharing power with our spouse, there's not one of us that's holding more power and control in the relationship than the other one.
If we really believe that we're one out of two, we wouldn't belittle one of the two, exalt the other one and say that's one. No, that's somebody disappearing.
I would treat my spouse's thoughts and feelings and presentation of ideas just as valuable as if it was my own.
So the side effects of not handling it well,
it can be either escalation of tension
or easing of tension. And so when we enter into this in a way where we're really caring what the other person has to say, what's happening from my spouse's perspective, then I have a way of easing the tension. I can soothe and repair and calm what's going on instead of escalating it.
So what's the result or the fruit of our working through conflict? Is it discord?
Or harmony.
And the benefit, are we experiencing stagnation and distance?
Or growth and intimacy.
So these are the things that we want to make sure that we are either not doing that'll cause it to be worse, or the things that we are going to implement into the way we discuss things that's going to draw us closer to each other.
And when we're talking about issues, think about the when, where, and how. Because, if you just throw things out in the middle of everyday life instead of saying, when is it a good time for us to talk? You want to be able to resolve it. So set up a time where you both know what's going on.
Maybe one of you is about to walk out the door to go somewhere, and the other one brings up, hey, when are we going to talk about this issue?
So where's a good place without distractions, a time without distractions, and then knowing how to talk through these things in such a way that we make it easier for the speaker to share and we make it easier for the listener to listen.
All these things are things that are going to make the conflict that you deal with in your relationship work for you instead of against you.